With Deepwoken Layer 2 right around the corner, I wanted to make this video overviewing everything that we already know about Layer 2 so far. Before we get into it, make sure to subscribe, because only about—
Oh my god, he's hitting the GRIDDY!
First of all, let's cover all the combat aspects changed in Layer 2. No, I will not be talking about mantras that got leaked or any weapons that got leaked super extensively. Only changes to the game's base combat systems and PvP and PvE. That does not mean I will not be talking about weapons and mantras, but I might just brush over them a little bit. Starting with Tempo, which I think is one of the largest additions to Layer 2. Tempo is a new mechanic which replaces Ether Reservoir in Layer 2. Instead of having Ether Reservoir, which drains over time, and when it drains, you gain Ether slower, now with the new Tempo mechanic, you will start fights with about 60% Tempo, which is significant Ether gain. However, as the fight goes on, landing hits on your opponent and getting hit will increase your Tempo, and your Tempo will slowly decrease the more passively you play and the less you hit your opponent. Gaining Tempo when you get hit as a compensation is good, because if you're getting hit, you're probably playing too aggressive, so this could help balance out a fight in which you're not playing super well. Tempo is great because it promotes less running and mantra spam playstyles. Regardless, Willpower. They're most likely going to make it so Willpower, instead of increasing Ether Reservoir, increases the rate at which your Tempo increases, or increases the percentage that you start off with Tempo in a fight, which could actually make Willpower not my least favorite stat anymore. I'm still not going to put it in any of my builds, but at least it won't be Charisma. Parrying now has a 1.5 second cooldown in the case that you miss a parry, opposed to the original 0.2 to 0.4 second cooldown. This just makes parrying more precise and punishable, because with PvP as it is now, missing a parry usually just results in you dodging right after, and still not getting punished unless you just mistimed the parry while someone was mid-swing. Also, with M1 attacks, it seems like they're taking a step back to Rogue Lineage. First of all, according to Reaconteur, combos are now going to be possible to do in M1s. As long as you land the first hit, and the second hit is missed with a parry, you can get people in combos up until a flourish. Along with that, flourishes have been entirely changed. They no longer stun lock you on the third hit, and now cause you to get kicked away on the last hit without being animation locked first. This was a good addition because it stops people from locking you into combos or throwing you into walls super easily. And also, your third hit always does knockback, similarly to Rogue Lineage, where the final hit in your combo, regardless of whether you landed the subsequent hits, did knockback. They're doing the exact same thing, but in Deepwoken now. This will most likely result in the finisher's ring being reworked into something entirely different. However, I couldn't see what they would do with it, because it doesn't really make sense to make it just you do the kick and a hit less, so I don't know. Venting has been brought back and entirely reworked. Under the circumstances that you have maximum tempo, you can now use venting. You can use venting by pressing Z. Venting has been made as a way to break out of combos in exchange for your combat advantage of tempo. You lose all of your tempo and knock back any players nearby. In this clip shown, the knockback is much higher than is to be expected in Layer 2 because either Archmage or Reaconteur said that they would be toning it down, as it's definitely enough to potentially kill someone at certain heights or knock people into voids. However, despite being mostly unreactable, if you predict someone is going to vent and you parry it, they're stunned, allowing you to get damage off of it for free, and they lose their tempo, punishing them heavily. So you want to make sure that if you're going to vent, you don't do it super predictably.
Any combo. The only trade-off to this ability is if the opponent blocks it or parries it, it should be unreactable, but if they block it or parry it, you will be left in like a state where you are vulnerable. So
the air dodge has been added to help players engage each other at medium distance and improving platform mobility.
On the trailer, we added these, which are air dodges. So originally in Old Deep, you know, if you dodged in the air, you would just kind of fumble, and it was just kind of like a worse roll.
Also, all forms of aerial slashes are now base combat instead of being a talent due to how integral it is in most PvP scenarios. It, however, will not be given to you on spawn. It will just be obtained in a way unlike talents, which you can gain from quests. They also mentioned Engage and Thresher scales would be gotten through quests, as they are seen as required talents in the game's current state and meta. The uppercut is probably the largest change to base PvP. If you press your crouch button and click M1 at the same time, you will uppercut. You can also slide into uppercuts. The uppercut allows you to bring someone into the air and Guilty Gear ABA aerial combo them for a few hits, and mantras also have unique interactions in the air. It can also be used to severely punish an opponent who tries to aerial slash at the beginning of a fight, as it can be used to counter the aerial slash move. The uppercut was made to punish the aerial slash, and it always has armor against one.
Do aerial against me. If you use an aerial against an uppercut, it will always lose. The uppercut is designed as a way to snipe people out of the air if they're doing that. You can also use an uppercut out of slide.
Flourishes in an uppercut kick down at a downwards arc opposed to the normal straight arc. If someone is parried in an uppercut, both people are brought down and the person who uppercuts is not very punished. If you attempt to uppercut someone and they parry it, the person who parried the uppercut gets a single hit for free, which could allow them to get you into a combo.
If he parries my uppercut, he will be able to hit me for free.
Okay.
Yep, and I can't defend myself until he does that.
As a whole, I think most of the PvP changes are pretty good because, you know, right now at high levels it's really just parry trades for an hour and people are spamming M1s and nobody really faints. So this could bring the game back into, you know, people actually pressing M2 sometimes. First of all, there are new weapon types. In the Layer 2 Q&A, Agamatsu had a musket, which is the Rosen's Peacemaker. There are also flintlock pistols, which have been added. Probably just, I don't know, new gun type. They're probably not that different from the revolvers. There is also finally an ice legendary weapon being added with Layer 2. This is the Great Axe, known as Gran Sudaruska. It is a Great Axe elemental weapon for Frost Straw, so you know, heavy ice is going to be used a lot now, and it's not going to be fun. And finally, the Chime of Conflict will be having its EXP gain slightly reduced due to it being shitty, and it's basically just Rogue Lineage private servers. It should be removed from the game, but whatever. On to locations that we've seen regarding Layer 2. First of all, we've all seen the bridge image they posted on Twitter and the snowy areas. We've already seen that. We know Layer 2 is going to have snow. Take Survivalist, it'll probably help you. I'm not going to be covering those extensively. I already made a video covering those. The recent Deepwoken Layer 2 Q&A that Agamatsu released shows a similar area to the one shown in the pre-released Deepwoken Direct. It is literally the exact same with some slight modifications, so it's probably just a small starter area for Layer 2. However, it was stated that the Etrian Luminant was getting an expansion, so this could also be a new area or island in the Etrian Luminant, which seems quite likely seeing as how there's water everywhere, and we don't really know if Layer 2 is going to have water. I'm assuming it's not going to. There is also a massive city, which Zartania, one of the builders, leaked on Twitter. This is probably the main city of Layer 2, as it is highly industrial and looks potentially highly populated, implying that it's a major place. I wouldn't say that it's in the Etrian Luminant, and it can't be in Layer 1 due to the way it looks. And the reason is because we don't see any water or anything that would lead us to believe that it isn't in Layer 2. So it most likely is. On Twitter, the official Deepwoken Twitter account made a tweet with a GIF showing a series of locations within the Layer 2 update. I'm assuming that some of them are part of the Luminant expansion and some of them are part of the first and second Depths layers. We have not been told anything about the first layer of the Depths getting an expansion, but there are some things I will be talking about in a minute. The first image shows us a cave with big mushrooms growing within it. This could be a dungeon of some sort, as those are supposed to be added with Layer 2, but it also could be some sort of cave or dungeon within the new Luminant expansion. This image doesn't really tell us very much. The second image shown is some sort of white and gold gate. I don't think this is in Layer 2 unless it's related to the city, which we have seen. I also think this image could be related to the sixth image, which shows a place most likely in the new Luminant expansion because it shows water, which means Layer 2 and 6 could be related and they could both be in the new Luminant expansion, or they could be unrelated. Image 6 could be in the new Luminant expansion, and Image 2 could be within Layer 2. The third image shows Yun Shul in a new environment. This could be Yun Shul in Layer 2, because Yun Shul wouldn't be in the Etrian Luminant. Now, this could potentially mean there would be new wish options or new dialogue options with Yun Shul if you find him in Layer 2, which could be pretty cool. Image 4 is a giant Roman Colosseum, which will probably be some sort of trial, which could potentially be the way you leave Layer 2. It could also be within the new Luminant as some sort of dungeon or trial or, you know, like something that you do for a lot of loot. I don't know. It just looks cool. The fifth image is a house with palm reeds around it. Reeds are an underwater plant, so this is most likely Layer 1, which is why I said earlier I think Layer 1 might be getting some sort of expansion. Because from what we've seen from Layer 2, nothing is based on underwater, it all seems to be a new environment. So this is potentially a new area within Layer 1. Image 7 is some sort of beacon beaming light or an ice beam somewhere. This is absolutely in Layer 2 because as we've seen from previous leaks, lots of Layer 2 is in snowy grounds. So I'm saying this is definitely in Layer 2. Image 8 shows a palm tree, so it leads me to believe it's in the new Luminant expansion. can't be a part of Layer 1 because it isn't underwater, and the overworld is the only subtropical and tropical climates we've seen so far, including within Layer 2, so this is most likely within the new Luminant. The 9th image is really confusing. It's either the new Luminant expansion because it shows some weird hive stuff, or it's Layer 2 and it's just the hive people who did some ancient work before that fell. I honestly have no idea what this is supposed to be. As a whole, this image just doesn't show much. The final image shows industrial waste dumping. I'm assuming this is either within the new Luminant because industrial waste dumping leads me to believe that they're dumping waste into water, but it also could be Layer 2 as it matches the setting of the industrial city we've seen, and there's no water to be seen, so I'm going to assume it's all void down there, and this is Layer 2. What we do know is that Layer 2 can be accessed in at least 2 ways. There's going to be one way to get down there, where if you jump in the Layer 1 depths void at high HP, you'll be sent to Layer 2. However, that would come with some sort of drawbacks, because Archmage said it would be bad, or something like that. And there also has to be a safe way to access Layer 2, the first layer of the depths, which we know, we just don't know how it's going to be. The final way that we know you could get to Layer 2 is if you have a lot of drowns. I'm assuming that going to the depths when you have a high amount of drowns will just result in you going straight to Layer 2 instead of Layer 1, because that just makes more sense. I would have covered more, but I already made a video a few months back on all the old Layer 2 leaks, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe, give me your money, hit the notification bell, watch all of my videos, I mean literally all of them, I don't care if it's not Deepwoken, watch the videos, and I hope you enjoy your day. Goodbye, and Layer 2 drops on the 22nd. Bye.